What's going on, guys? It's Bob with Cinephellas. I got to talk with Marc Singer about his movie Agent Recon. The movie should be best for streaming or wait for it to hit Tubi. On the bright side, though, it's Marc Singer. It's Beastmaster. I mean, this is probably one of the most fun I've had to talk to someone who was such a huge part of my childhood. So here's the interview. We talk a little about Agent Recon, but mostly Beastmaster. We even talk about Shakespeare. But all in all, I hope you enjoy. I am so starstruck right now. It is ridiculous.
I appreciate it. It's
I
Go ahead, go ahead.
When they brought this movie and said, "Hey, you want to do this?" and here are the people you could talk to. I saw your name and I audibly gasped because Beastmaster is one of my favorite movies of all time. My father and I used to watch it all the time, over and over. So this is like a huge thing for me right now.
No kidding. I'm sincere. I'll tell you something. Whenever somebody tells me that this was an important part of their childhood, especially when it involves another family member, it's very moving to me. I get that, and I think that's among so many things that are gratifying about having made a popular film and one that seems to be meaningful to other people is the idea that this was a family affair as well at that time. That's very moving to me. I appreciate that.
My father, his father, like we'd sit down and my grandfather used to just take it all in and look how he's got those ferrets, like it was just one of the biggest things. And then me being a sci-fi like just lover, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
V is another thing that just another part of my childhood. So like you have been there for what feels like 43 years, well, all 43 years of my life. There's always been you know what I mean? Between Beastmaster 1, 2, 3, V, Batman the Animated Series where you played Man Bat. Like there are
Right.
so many things that you've been represented so much in my life. So it is a true honor to be even able to speak to you, let alone see you and just have this interaction. So thank
I
you for this
I
moment.
appreciate that. I tell you, it's when you said initially that I was so important in your upbringing and so forth. It's amazing to me, and it's a reminder that celebrity is a responsibility as well, because you're very welcome and much appreciated. Praise comes to a person who doesn't think of himself that way until he's reminded of it. But I do know that the responsibility of that is something that I take very seriously, and I hope it reflects in my work and also in my personal life. So I appreciate it, and I know where you're coming from, and it's mirrored in its effect over here from this side too.
Just to hear that made my day, I tell you. So with someone who has had the longevity that you have in this world with over 5 decades of being able to work and find constant ways to reinvent himself from being in front of the camera to being voice to being I mean just everything. What can you attribute to that if you got to speak to younger actors and stuff like that? What is the secret to your success or the secret to this longevity of a career where you're larger than life?
I appreciate it, and I understand the context of the entitlement, but uh, uh, education and seriousness of purpose, and I think also, and not to be too Pollyanna about the whole thing, but I think it's important to bear in mind some ethical standard uh, uh, to develop as you go forward in life. Um, for myself, in a practical way, uh, read Shakespeare, read Shakespeare, read Shakespeare, and get a classical understanding of how words in a script are put together, and why they mean what they mean, and why the author selected them. Because, and to bear in mind that in acting, as in all things in life, in every aspect of success in life, or even working towards success in life, the most important thing that comes first other than good intentions, which are general, is first comes the intelligence, the knowledge, the information, and then comes the emotionality after that. And getting a good balance between knowledge and emotion is, I think, uh, a key balance in life.
I gotta ask, you brought up Shakespeare. I I'm extremely curious. Your favorite work?
Troilus and Cressida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a play. It's a play that demands giants of personality and physical stamina to bring forth. And I think there's some evidence that it was Shakespeare's favorite play too. But the play that the character that I'm interested in currently is the character of Lady Macbeth. I'm developing an essay on qualities in her character. But one way or the other, Shakespeare is the foundation of my work.
Now I was gonna say, you were in Taming of the Shrew as well, correct?
That's it. That's I was. Yeah, that was kind of a breakthrough performance for me when what it takes to carve out a career really came home to me in that opportunity, and I began to seize the bull by the horns and move forward. Without Shakespeare, there could have been no Agent Recon for me, which is I think one of the pieces that I've enjoyed most in my whole career making.
And I was gonna ask that with the big personalities, with everyone over the span of your career, you get to work with a legend such as Chuck Norris. How was that?
He's an amazing. Well, first of all, it's an amazing experience. We had known each other very briefly and casually from black tie affairs in the past, and that different entities in Hollywood may have hosted. But we've never had a chance to work together, nor to speak together as colleagues or friends. I tell you, in working with him on the set, he proved himself to be a gentleman in every aspect. And he was so kind and so gentle and so emotionally available to all these young people in the crew and in the cast. Genuinely a warm heart and a warm spirit is what I can say about him. He was a real pleasure to be around. And as far as everybody in life is concerned, he was exemplary too. So he was a great guy. He's a great guy.
That's awesome to hear. You always like to hear, the people up there that have that power are able to utilize it in positive ways instead of letting it go to their head.
No, exactly. He set a great example.
You get the script. What is the thing that pulls you in the most, that really kind of intrigued you enough to grab it?
It's funny, there are two things. Well, first of all, setting the script aside was the adventure of working with somebody like Derek Ting, who skill set aside, and his skill sets are unimpeachable. But setting the skill sets aside, somebody that wrote, directed, produced, and stars in his own movie has got to be somebody formidable. And I want to be near him and see how he handles that, because that's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. So that's one thing that drew me in. But the story itself, this lost patrol who's gone in search of after catastrophic defeats, has gone in search as a rescue party for the daughter of the patrol's leader, Colonel Green. The emotional underpinning of the story really gripped me, because there's all the action, there's all the shooting, there's all the gunfire and all the fun and excitement and tension. There are the scary moments and the moments where you think that all is lost. But then there's the underlying story, which is a father and a daughter seeking a balance in their relationship in the middle of this turmoil. So the story metaphorically had a great deal of weight to it, and I really responded to that as well.
Now, you had mentioned before we're talking with the writing, directing, producing, starring. How was it working with him? Because like you said, there's a lot of hats he's wearing at that moment. Did he wear all these hats at the same time very well?
Yeah, you would expect somebody with that much responsibility to be smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Absolutely.
No, he was quite the opposite. He was easygoing, cheerful, friendly, never showed any stress, always supportive of all the creative suggestions that came to him, whether it was from our absolutely wonderful cinematographer or whether it was from a member of the crew or the cast. Just supportive of everything that everybody did, and easygoing. And I mean, days rolled by that exemplified the very best parts of the work. We were out in the middle of the wilderness outside in the desert hills outside of Los Angeles. Herds of deer would wander through the sets, or the peripheries anyway. Coyotes were on the hills, and we were operating out of the legendary movie ranch sets of abandoned towns and destroyed cityscapes that give a movie real texture and make it so much fun to work on. So no, he never showed any stress whatsoever. I think he's absolutely remarkable in that way.
Now, is there any way that you'd be willing to put on all those hats and really kind of take the reins of a cinematic journey?
I've resisted it thus far, and successfully so. I don't think that's for me. I honestly, I don't believe that's for me. I'm not saying that I couldn't do it, but there would have to be a story uh, so urgent, so urgent in my imagination that needed to be told before I would have to assume that responsibility, that weight. I'm not saying I wouldn't, and I'm not saying I couldn't if something was brought to me, but my chief focus is in acting and writing.
Going with the acting again, V, Dallas, Young and Restless, like your credits are amazing. Is there a dream project for you out there? Is there something that if you could manifest it, what is Mr. Singer's dream role?
Well, I mean, I have two answers for that. One of them is less definite than the other. The first one, which is definite, is that I'd like to play Ulysses in Troilus and Cressida. The one that is less specific, but in my mind just as definite, is that whatever role most approximates the entire journey of my life and the personality that has resulted from it would be the thing I'd like to play next.
That is probably the most poetic answer I've ever heard to that question. Just with you're an actual wordsmith. I would love to be able to read some of your work if that's how poetic you can get with a question as simple as mine for you to be able to lay down such a smooth answer to it. It's quite remarkable.
I appreciate it. There came a time regarding poetry, by the way. There came a time in my life due to uh, certain unfortunate occurrences and personal loss that changed my whole way of thinking and changed my whole way of self-expression. And for a substantial time, I could not express myself adequately except by poetry. So that if somebody asked me a question, uh, while I could coherently, seemingly, respond in an appropriate way, the better answer was always formulated in poetry.
It's absolutely amazing. Again, the way you put things, it's just like you said, it's like a song. Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Singer, for your time. It has been one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. One of the most surreal parts of my life. I'll be honest with you. This was a 8 or 9 year old me who was like, just very excited. And if you ever do a convention in the Chicagoland area, I'll need to attend. I will take you for dinner or whatever. I would love to meet you in person, sir.
I much appreciate the expressions and the sentiment behind them, and I tell you that it's been a singular and singularly moving experiencing in this interview for me too. So I thank you very much.
Well, thank you again, sir. It was a great movie. And again, I hope everything and anything positive can happen to you, sir. Again, out of body experience for me. And I know my grandfather's looking down, smiling right now, going, he had the ferrets, remember? Like, it's just one of the few things that we bonded over.
You've been
Well,
very
thank you again, Mr. Singer.
I hope you have a wonderful day, sir.
Same to you. Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, Marc Singer, Beastmaster. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. The dude's great. I'm an 80s kid, and sometimes you gotta watch a movie that you would never watch in your life. Just an opportunity to talk with someone that you've loved since you were about 6. All in all, the movie, meh. Marc Singer. So until next time, cheers.